On the 14th of April 2014, Boko Haram ambushed an all-girls boarding school on Chibok, Borno State in the middle of the night and kidnapped 276 students. It has been 7 long years and many of them are still in captivity. Jesse Tafida reports.
14th April 2014. That's when more than 270 girls were abducted from Government Secondary School Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. 57 of the schoolgirls were said to have escaped almost immediately after the incident. The terrorist group Boko Haram claimed responsibility for the kidnappings in a video released by their leader Abubakar Shekau on May 5, 2014. Since then, hopes and concerns have been raised and dashed on various occasions as negotiations went back and forth over the release of the 200 remaining girls.
Like millions of people across the globe, my husband and I are outraged and heartbroken over the kidnapping of more than 200 Nigerian girls from their school dormitory in the middle of the night. This unconscionable act was committed by a terrorist group determined to keep these girls from getting an education. Grown men attempting to snuff out the aspirations of young girls. And I want you to know that Barack has directed our government to do everything possible to support the Nigerian government's efforts to find these girls and bring them home.
All negotiation came to a standstill until 13th October 2016, when 21 out of the girls were released. The successful negotiations between the federal government and the militant group renewed hope that more of the girls will soon come out from captivity. Demands for the release of the remaining girls have since then not let down.
The government should intensify his security. They should sit down and strategize. What is happening that this particular thing is not coming to an end? We should put our hands on decks to see that this thing are being fought sincerely. And not only the Chibok girls, there are so many girls who are in captivity. So I'm calling on the government and all advocates, human rights activists, that we should come out and call on and make another kind of an advocate to the federal government.
Our daughters have been abducted for 7 years and we're still searching for them. And a lot of us, indirectly and the parent directly, have went through a lot of traumas. Majority have lost their lives, and majority are also losing hope in the ability to get protected and even in pursuing of the educational career. So I want to use this opportunity to call on the government and relevant agencies to wake up to their own responsibilities to ensure that people's lives and property are protected, because education is a key for development of every society and a country in general.
The abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls remained fresh in the minds of Nigerians. Several other abductions have followed, like the 110 schoolgirls from Government Science and Technical College Dapchi in Yobe State, 300 Jangabe schoolgirls in Zamfara, and Kankara schoolboys in Niger. Concerned citizens say Nigerian authorities need to live up to their pledge of protecting the people and develop efforts to provide a safe learning environment for children. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
All right, joining us to discuss this is public affairs analyst Dayo Lumuwagun and in-house analyst Alhassan Kowali. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Good morning, pleasure being here.
It's been 7 long, tortuous years since the abduction of the Chibok girls. And if you look at the papers this morning, you will hear some of the parents speaking, saying that they want to see their children before they die. That is, those who are still in captivity. And at the time, the president was quoted as saying that we cannot claim to have defeated Boko Haram without rescuing the Chibok girls and all other innocent persons held hostage by insurgency. It's been 7 long years since then. When you look at government's effort to bring these girls back, How would you evaluate? What do you say is your reaction? Because afterwards, there have been several other kidnappings of students in large numbers. Some returned, some yet to be seen. Let me start with you, Dayo.
So I think, unfortunately, the story of the Chibok Girls has become the Nigerian story. So it's that is almost not new, and we're almost getting used to it. But it's so sad. The Chibok Girl issue is so sad because you're talking about girls who were looking forward, so hopeful, pledged their allegiance to their country, thinking they will become something as the year goes by, and they were kidnapped. And 7 years after, 7 years after, we are still here talking about about 112 girls or women now still in captivity, and everything seems normal. And I say it became the Nigerian story because today, only God knows how many people are kidnapped in Nigeria every day.
Right.
So you hear that people are kidnapped, it doesn't really, in fact, you hear that people are killed, the human feeling in us seems to have disappeared. But leave that one apart. But I think the Chibok Girls, the kidnapping of the Chibok Girls was like, testing the waters for the Boko Haram.
So are you saying it laid precedence for all we are seeing now?
All we are seeing now. So they tested the water,
yeah,
and the reaction of government. For example, it took us more than maybe 2 or 3 weeks to even know that people have been kidnapped, over 200 people kidnapped. And the handling of that subsequently, whether by the government that left and this administration, has subsequently encouraged those guys. So except you have, you want to maintain your integrity and character, except you have your church mind or your mosque mind. You see, crime is inviting now in Nigeria. Because you kidnap. So, for example, you kidnap and people give you billions of naira, millions of naira. Why wouldn't you go and kidnap? Again, that's another thing. But it's really sad that 7 years after, nothing has changed. In fact, the story has gone worse. Now, you go out, forget school, you go out even as individual. You are afraid, you are not too sure. If you get back to your house, that is the Nigerian story.
Let's get Obani Akinwale's reaction to this now. He has said a lot of things that, and one of the things which he said, which I would like for you to react to, is the fact that the handling of the Chibok girls seem to have laid precedence for every other thing that we have seen happen afterwards in terms of kidnapping. Perhaps, I don't know what you make of that. Also talking about the fact that we are still talking about this 7 years afterwards.
There are two industries that seems to be generating revenue for Nigerians. It is very, very
Not
huge.
all Nigerians do.
When we say Nigerians now, we know those that are Nigerians. Those guys that are within the confines of where they call FCT or as governors and what have you. But what I'm laying emphasis on is that there are two industries that sells very well, two professions. It's basically the profession of politicking, the politicians, and also security. Now you find out that the billions or trillions of naira that has been made by individuals in the government before this government, and this government shows clearly that we have a lot on our hands. And the more you look, the less you see. You recall during the days of NSA Dansuki, there was a case of arms thieves that was supposed to do. Remember the case of Ambassador, who happens to be the NIA boss then. There was a case of Ikoyi Monin. You also remember the case of Pastor Richard Jaffor aircraft. There was issue of money for security. And you remember a few days ago, the NSA was directly or indirectly saying anything that has to do with equipment procurement, they should have Buretai and the rest of them. And a few days ago, I was reading an headline which says the current Chief of Army Staff was saying, if you want to know whether we buy equipment in Army or not, you need to call the former Chief.
It's still on the papers this morning.
So that's why I'm saying that there are two ways we make money in this country now, either through insecurity or you make money through politics. So, and as much as we still continue to play with life of individuals in Nigeria, we seem not to get results. Notwithstanding, you see the drama that is going on online now about Showore and Co. You find out that even the civil society that was supposed to be helping the society to checkmate the government to bring these ills out are also an accomplice. the Adisa Bala of this world, they were members of Bring Back Our Girls campaign. Yes. Where are they today? What are they saying today? Madam Obie Ezekwesili, the former vice president of World Bank or what have you, was championing this cause after she had lost the election. What has been I say about this? So what I'm saying effectively is that people go to international donors, government spend money, and we don't see the result. And again, from 2014 till now, the security is going worse by the day. Then you ask a question again, just like what Ayodele Adio said all the time. What is the job of the National Assembly? If the priority of Mr. President is security of life and property, and as of today, is the country safe, is life and property safe? Yeah, about 2 days ago, Ijebo, the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, that was a kidnap. Every day, Biniore, there is kidnap. Zamfara has turned to kidnap them. Virtually, states in Southwest have turned to what you see. So what you find out is that Chibok is a reflection of what our society is now. And it seems that we are on auto cruise as a nation. It seems that our security apparatus don't know what to do. But that is not the case. You have a military officer that is still using equipment that are brought from Sudan War in 1979. And in 2021, we're using the tactics of 1980 to fight the war of 2021. You see security officers willing to resign because they are unable to provide food for them. And questions are not being asked. How many people are even willing to join Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, whatever, to go and fight this war? Because they discovered that once you become the generals or brigadier or AVM or what have you, all of a sudden you become rich. You recall the case of Minima. You remember what happened to the former chief of defense staff, the man that died in his farm. You remember the money, the plea bargaining and what have you. So it shows clearly that our system of governance is gradually going to comatose, and our security is not running. And again, Chibok is Chibok was Boko Haram. Chibok was the militants and what have you. ICRC, International Red Cross Society, was doing all that. But now, kidnapping has now turned to a daily activity, even a daily activity in every sphere in this country. It's so unfortunate that people are collecting security votes, people are voting money for security apparatus, but yet nowhere is secured.
Now, he mentioned something that I'd like for you to touch on, talking about asking questions. We've put in so much funds to address these issues, and people are saying we should ask this other person question, but nobody seems to want to ask a question. Is that so difficult? Because one of the things this government talked about was to ensure that it fights corruption to the barest minimum. And handling of, there has been, I'm trying.
No, I agree.
Okay.
They are fighting it with guns and cutlasses.
Now, these are the issues that a lot of persons, there have been accusations and counter. At least people want to see that people are brought to book at least. Monies were spent. Where are these monies? Monies were, put out for buying of equipment and all of it. Yet we are not seeing that. And people are saying, ask so person questions. But nobody seems to want to look in that direction.
Also, it's again, it's sad. You don't know where to even start from. You see, the story of Nigeria is like a story of a man that will be confirmed by the gods that's going to die, and he's on the sick bed. And so the best everybody is trying to do is to see what they can pick from the rich man who is about to die. Because unfortunately, they think he's going to die because the gods, you cannot afford the gods, whatever they tell you. Now, that's the story of Nigeria. So everybody, you see, again, you ask yourself, do we have institutions in this country? Forget the National Assembly, forget that assembly, forget this assembly. Whoever pays the piper will dictate the tune is going to play out. And that is what you see everywhere. Now, you know how elections are held in Nigeria.
Right.
Okay. Whether it's election is a different thing. So, if I put you in government under the guise of an election, and I've done something wrong, where do you get that audacity to challenge me? I mean, so it's a far reach in the issues we have on ground. So, the people who are to checkmate these people, who are to monitor what is going on, who are to ask questions, again, they are the people that has been brought into power by these other people who you want to checkmate. So it is going to be difficult. And that's why he was laughing. Say, talk about this, talk about that. How many people have been brought to book? And I guarantee you, you won't find one before the end of this government, this administration. In fact, by my own record, I think
but this has implications, because this is what we're seeing, and the future of a lot of children are at stake already.
You see, exactly that's what I'm saying. That you see, we're talking about 2023, and in my mind, I'm asking myself, will Nigeria see 2023?
We will.
You see, and if we eventually, you see, because you need to decide what happened to this dying Nigeria. Can we still salvage it? Because the truth is, everybody trying to grab.
Yes,
I think we can. If we sit down and we want to start from somewhere, maybe it's going to take us 10, 15 years to adjust in the first place. Then we can begin to be from there. But the sad thing about it is, nobody seems to be concerned. You see, go to your schools, for example.
And I are concerned. So we can't totally say nobody, except those, maybe you are referring to those in government.
You see, we are concerned, but we are almost helpless in this country. Now, 2023 is still how many years away? You see people sharing rice, sharing beans, sharing whatever they can share now. And they have decided to, it was a deliberate attempt to impoverish the people. A hungry man can do anything for you. You see, give him 2,000. I mean, you have seen cases where you just give 1,000, 2,000 to somebody and they go and kill for you. That is what they have turned Nigerians into. And so we are almost helpless. But the truth is, the people that are ruling us, the National Assembly, the presidency, the governance, if they can just think, because when the bubble will burst, it's going to clear everybody. Yes, I know they have dual citizenship. Some of them have passport, they can fly. They have their own private jet. But you see, this nation, Nigeria, because I wonder where you will push 200 million to people to. Which country will accommodate you? So it's either we make things work, or we just be like, everybody just taking whatever they can take before this government, before this Nigeria will eventually, you see, but I think we can salvage it. And we all know the solutions. People have been talking about restructuring, people have been talking about this, take that, and you pretend that as though this thing would, they are not there. But you see, the trouble in our hands, I'm scared that we won't be able to manage. Go to your schools, for example. We're talking about the Chibok Girls. Your schools generally in Nigeria now has become a breeding ground for criminals.
Right.
All right. So, and I was there one day and I would look at the children. You know, this day you can sit in your house and you get your work result. You don't need to struggle. You can do your jump and 3 days to the exam, you already have it on your phones. And those are the people we are breeding.
For the future of this country.
You see, everywhere is messed up. Yeah. It's messed up.
Your reaction?
Yeah, what I would say is, just like I always say on this program, that I always like the parable of my grandmother. And he always tell me that, he said, the man with the hunchback, they said somebody was telling him that the load you are carrying on your head is not straight. And the man with the hunchback said, you are looking at the load on my head, but what about the one on my back? That will never make me stand straight. See, just like he mentioned, we have fundamental problems. You ask for restructuring, they say you go and do Ebubeagu, go and do Amotekun, go and do civilian JTF, that you will not be empowered to attack. You have a Amotekun that arrest and police say will not ask you to arrest. You have a CEC that said nobody should go and do medical whatever abroad and travel abroad. You have a EFCC man that the CEC said they want to probe and there is no report today. You have a chief of defense staff, you have a NSA that still go back to the chief of army staff to listen to instruction. So you have a National Assembly that will say we will work with Mr. President but we will not work with the Nigerians. So the problem is there for us to see. And 2023 will come. See, they will distribute rice, they will distribute ororo. People will buy, people will take, because they know that somebody told us that said Nigerians were the toughest person on the planet. Give them a bottle of rice and a bottle of roro. People forget the sorrow of yesterday. Yes, it's a dying nation, but we can all revive it together. And this is how we want to revive it. We need to elect people that have the will. If you continue to say we do amalgamation and bring anybody there, and those people will have to give us payback, this country will continue the way it is. And I will never subscribe to us having security apparatus from Egypt. We remember the case of Bakassi boys, those days. Yes. See, you remember what OPC did in the Southwest in 2014 when Jonathan was contesting. Now, the hunter in the Southwest are saying they must be absorbed into Amotekun and they must have this. The ASN is saying now that they must be the one to run Ibuagu. Yes. You will see what will happen in the North. So, we know what our problems are, and our leaders know, because they go out there. Then, one thing I want to appeal to this government is that, is it not possible for all our principal officers to stop using security men when they are going out? Let all of us go and let them also enjoy what we're enjoying. Let them go through Lagos Ibadan.
You and I know that won't happen.
It is possible. It can be legislated. There is no law that says a National Assembly member should go with 50 jeeps. There is no law. These are facts. There is no law that says you only entitled to 2 days, but you see the convoy of military officers, of police and everything, and yet the people that they are paying the tax, they are not being policed.
Right.
So until we get to that point whereby Nigeria begin to demand for their rights and ensure that even the 14th Constitution bequeathed to us by military, we act on it properly. Okay. This country will continue to slide the way it's sliding. And I'm afraid Mr. Buhari came on 3-point agenda, security, economy, and corruption. But for now, security is zero.
Right. And we can only hope that something is done and the parents of these children would see their children before they die, because that's what they're asking for. Gentlemen, Dayolumu Agun, public affairs analyst, in-house analyst, Obani Kowali, thank you for speaking with us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you for having us.